Hey everybody, it's Dr. Angela Cudger with Legacy Holistic Health Institute. I'm here with Miss Tracie Harrison. Tracie is a whole medicine and healing practitioner. Today, we're going to be having a conversation about health and wellness as it relates to family and as it relates to wellness accountability. And at the end, we're going to talk about a few different types of opportunities that people can take when they pursue health coaching. So if you're just now joining us, make sure you let us know who you are and let us know where you are and what you actually do. And so, Tracie, I'm going to actually turn the floor over to you. Your journey has been one that has been so dynamic. It's a journey that's been a one type of journey that I think a lot of people can glean some real nuggets from, not just about life, but about how you went through your own health journey and then started helping other people do the same. And so I want to give you a little bit of an opportunity to let people know who you are and where you're located and what brought you into health coaching.
Mm, that is a great question. This journey started for me over 30 years ago. In my own family, um, I got to witness some chronic illnesses, and the main one was colon cancer. And so I lost, transition. A few of my great aunts had transitioned before I even got out of high school. So I had some awareness that there was some kind of chronic issue going on in the family. Now, I didn't know how nutrition played into that, or lifestyle, or any of the other elements that can contribute to that outcome, because everything is not about genetics, like you're just going to automatically get it. However, but
Right.
when you're a young person, that's how you actually hear it. It's just like it catches you from somewhere. So, I actually started my journey. Not only that was an event that happened that brought me to that awareness, but my own journey started right after undergrad, where I experienced stool bleeding. And
Mhm.
instantly my mind went to colon cancer. And I was
Cancer.
like, oh my God, colon cancer runs our family. And I got stool bleeding. Oh my goodness, I might have colon cancer. Then I'm fresh out of college. And so I go to see my primary doctor. They check, and it's like, nope, it's chronic constipation. Take this Metamucil, and you're probably going to have to take it forever. And I was like, forever? That's a bit much. And my little young mind at that time is like, no, there got to be another way. There got to be another way.
Mhm.
And I was like, what did you say this Metamucil is? And they said it's fiber. You need more fiber. So I went on a
Mhm.
search. How do I get more fiber? I was, oh, vegetables, fruits. I got to eat
Mhm.
the peel and everything. So I was like, okay, I can get in the driver's seat. I don't have to take this nasty stuff for the rest of my life, because it's absolutely disgusting. And I was like, I just need to eat more fruits and vegetables. But then that got the ball rolling on the benefits and the health of my colon and the overall health. So as the ball got rolling, next thing you know, I become a vegan, because I'm just going
Mhm.
down the rabbit hole of plant-based, 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 because I never want to experience stool bleeding ever again. That was my big thing. Or to even be in that place where I'm afraid of colon cancer, that it's
Mhm.
going to catch up with me somehow. So
Mhm.
the journey started, marinate, marinate, become a vegan, 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 stay a vegan for a few decades, and always seeking more knowledge. Never taking time off for knowing more and empowering myself, that I can take the best care of this vessel, that it was
Mhm.
my own gift. So along that journey, I'm always searching. I get my master's degree in health science. I'm still
Mhm.
on that search. I become a personal trainer. I become a nutrition consultant, just always sharing, sharing, sharing my knowledge. But in order to share, I need more. I need to know more, because questions, people questions were changing over time.
Mm-hmm.
I went searching. I found your school. But I was just doing an inquiry, and your beautiful self do follow-ups. And you're just like, are you still interested in? And then I got to start talking to you, and I was like, yeah, yeah, this is a match for me at this time. And luckily it was. But let me tell you about the journey. The journey was magnificent. The school is over the top in its understanding and preparing you, the legacy school, and preparing you for what you're going to face out there. And the way my confidence was built up in that process as a health coach, I never entertained that until I
Mm-hmm.
found your school. Um, yeah, I was going a different route. And then, I had to share my black love. It's like my money, my dollars got to go to my black love. So, and that was important. And then also, what we had in common, we both went through the comedic yoga training. So there was a lot
Mm-hmm.
that was saying, yes, yes, this is your tribe. This is where you should be. This is who you should have educate you with her vast amount of knowledge from the medical industry, and bringing that together to a holistic industry and knowing how to prepare us to better serve on that level, the holistic level.
Mm-hmm.
So I go through the training. It's phenomenal. There's so many other opportunities, and so much growth, so much growth. But
Mm-hmm.
time I graduated the end of 2019. Had no idea
Mm-hmm.
pandemic was on its way. But thank God of preparation, like get your continuing education. You don't know,
Mm-hmm.
you just don't know. You just want to stay ready and be able to be flexible when one door closed. You are already qualified
Ready
to
to
step
walk through the next one.
out the door. And that's how
Uh-huh.
I felt for 2020.
Yes.
2019, I graduate. 3 months later, the industry, the world closes. And what I was doing for a profession at that time disappeared completely almost. I had like a few
Mm.
little, but it wasn't enough to sustain myself. And then I looked, I was like, I just finished this certification. I am a certified holistic health coach. What can I do with this at this time? And I went on LinkedIn, and there was a company there, Jumpstart, and they were looking for help coaching. And I said,
Yeah.
they looking and I'm ready. And I
Love
hired
it.
someone
Love
to
it.
help me with a resume because I hadn't did one in decades. And I was like,
Yeah.
it to be clean, concise, and I'm just working this part of my education because it's new, fresh, just
Mm-hmm.
it, and I can get an opportunity to get some experience with this new accomplishment. Phenomenal. You couldn't even write this story that I would be ready and not getting ready for 2020 that nobody was really ready for. And I was just in the right place at the right time to be ready and say yes to Dr. Codger, and just know that I was in the right place and getting the right information. And next thing you know, I'm being a health coach for the first time for three and a
I
half
love
years.
it. I
For three
love
and
it. I love it. Now your story still goes on to
today.
and we're going to get into that because I like what you said about people getting ready because we have a lot of people that are kind of on the fence, and it's easy for all of us to get tunnel vision and say, here's what I'm used to. I'm going to let my little rocking horse keep rocking this same old way, not realizing that there's other opportunities that we can draw to ourselves when we're ready, and other connections that we can make, after we educate ourselves. It makes us a viable candidate for some incredible things. Not to mention how it leads us down a path where we can still continue to develop ourselves. And we're going to talk about how you ended up with your PhD
Yes.
because I remember the master's degree, right? when I finally got back in contact with you, I was like, Dr. Harrison, okay, we've got to talk about how this journey ended up. But there's a lot that we need to cover. So
Yes,
those of you
yes.
in the comments, be sure to let us know where you're located and what you do, and let us know, where you're tuning in from. So I'm looking at this comment by Marie Keene. Marie Keene is also a graduate. Marie, I think Marie was in cohort 2. We're now enrolling for cohort 45. And so it's
Woo!
come a long way. And so, Marie, let me know what cohort you were a part of. I think Marie was in cohort 1 or 2. She was
And I
super
was a
early, and
three.
you were cohort 3. I
I
remember.
was
So
three. That's
so
sacred three. That's sacred
so
three. 2020 closed down at 3. I did 3 years at that new clinic. That's sacred 3.
right. Okay. 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 So this is good. This is good. So Marie was in the inaugural cohort. She was in cohort 1. Okay, great, great, great.
Wow.
And so I want to kind of get into this because today, you guys, we are talking family dynamics. And if you've heard some of Dr. Tracie's story, she already discussed how colon cancer ran in her family. And so we're going to talk a little bit about how do we have those conversations, because
Mm,
I remember when we first started talking before you even enrolled, this was a part of your information call or your discovery call, as we call it. And it was one of the things that came up was, I'm trying to have a conversation with my mom, or I'm trying
yes,
to have a conversation with people in my family, but I don't know how to do that, right? Or I'm getting some pushback, but I
yes,
know that plant-based living is something that even if they tried for a little while, it could
yes,
extend their life. And
yes,
so I want to talk a little bit. Now, you've come full circle from that piece all the way to, I'm a devout plant-based person.
hmm
I have my specific Kemetic and spiritual practice, but
hmm
I also am one of those people that is now a part of whole medicine, and it's something that I teach. So I want to talk a little bit about, how do we how did you begin to have those conversations when we know that chronic disease runs in our family, but we also know that traditionally what we eat, lack of exercise, and those kinds of things are also part of the behaviors and habits of our specific family? How does
yes.
someone begin to have that conversation?
So as for me, I recently turned my sister onto plant based, and she's 100% plant based, but it had to take something tragic to happen, and
Mhm.
then for me to educate her on now what after the tragic thing. So the tragic thing is she had to have her gallbladder removed, but there was no education of what's the consequences or the quality of her life after the gallbladder is no longer there. That's when I stepped in. And I stepped in to educate her because she had no idea. And she was wondering, why am I gaining weight? Why can't I lose weight? And all the other things that were showing up, that she wasn't whole anymore. And so it was mandatory for a lifestyle to be changed, because there were going to be some other consequences to not making
Mhm.
those changes. So because the changes weren't made before the gallbladder was taken, now the gallbladder is gone. It has to be made, or it accelerates
Yeah.
what's next. You won't get as much time on what's
Mhm.
next. So it's like, if you can hear someone now and do it before you lose an organ or before you end up on the medication, that is the time. But if not, and you start that journey and you still don't listen, it's only going to get worse, and it's going to happen sooner and sooner and sooner. You're not going to
Mhm.
get as much time. So I say my approach is the education, like
Mhm.
how it works, how the body works, like why it matters, and knowing how it impacts the quality. We don't know how long we're going to be here, but don't you
Mhm.
want quality? Like
Mhm.
it's yours to have, but you got to be a willing participant in it. Doesn't come for free. which means some
Mm-hmm.
changes got to be made. So it's just making it logical to people, just meeting them where they are and speak that logical information,
Mm-hmm.
and not vilifying the medical industry, but educating on how this all works, this
Yeah.
internal self works. The why has to be so strong to get people to commit to it. If that
Mm-hmm.
why isn't strong enough, you're wasting your breath. They just like,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I'm not buying in. That why didn't work for me. Yeah, that sound cute, but I still like my french fries. So I'm
Right.
driving over there right now. Thank you, but no thanks. So there, I was like, meet them where they are. If you get a chance to educate them and they're open to it, like I don't know, I just came the back door. It was just like a friendly way of coming in and not attacking my sister or making her feel like she's wrong or she did something wrong or she's a failure. It's pretty much like sharing. This is what I read about such and such. Or did you know this is how such and such works? And if this is
Yeah.
missing, guess what's going to have to pick up the work? That liver. And guess what? You're not an alcoholic, but you're going to get fatty liver. So just
Mm-hmm.
telling that, you're like, did you know? Or guess what? So it's got to be soft. I just said it's got to be soft because so folks love what they love. And our people can throw down on their cooking. Woo, they
They
can throw down.
can. They can.
And
So
so
we so
it gets
so we
people's
got to
blood.
lead with we lead with education, right?
Mhm,
And we lead
mhm.
with love, right? We can't
Yeah.
we got to keep in mind that if a person is used to eating and being and living a certain way, and minorities, we congregate over food.
Yes.
Food is so ingrained in how we socialize, so
Yes.
much so to the point where the energy is going to be off if someone cooked this versus another person cooking it. And so we can be a very sensitive people when it comes to specifically staple dishes. And
Mhm.
so understanding, like one of the concepts we teach is, how that food turns into your cells. How does that particular thing that you ate turn into your hair, your skin, your nails, your teeth, your internal organs, which regenerate regularly. And
Mhm.
so the quality of what we're putting in right now, I'm 44, and I tell people what I'm putting in right now is building my body for 54. Like what you're doing now is building that body that's going to show up for you in the next decade. So you have to
That
be
part.
vigilant about what you're doing, what you're eating, who you're around. And yes, people are going to want to indulge, but we have to always ask ourselves, in exchange for the money I'm spending on my food, in exchange for the money I'm spending on my food, what is the value that it's giving back to my body? In
Mm.
the exchange of going to the gym for an hour, what
Mhm.
is it giving back to my lifespan after
Ashe.
I leave?
Ashe.
And so when we think of it that way, we can shift the perspective of how we feel about not having any movement and not eating properly, right?
Yes.
And so now I want to kind of catch everyone up because we're now at the point where you've graduated in 2019. You have your certification, but you also hold your master's degree at this time.
Yes.
And then you're on LinkedIn, which I love LinkedIn, right? Love LinkedIn. And so you're on LinkedIn, and now you see an opportunity for a health coach with a company called Jumpstart MD. And
Yes.
Jumpstart MD is where you went after this opportunity. And this is not, and let me just say this, she's not a board certified health coach. All you
Mhm.
have to do is graduate,
That's it.
and then
It
these
was enough.
opportunities open up for you. Now, for
Yes.
Jumpstart MD, Tracie, tell us a little bit about the dynamics of that job because this is a question
Woo.
we get asked all the time, right? So before we jump, because before
Woo.
we
That's like a thing.
before we jump all the way in, before we jump all the way in, tell us a little bit about what are some of the things that they were. Was it full time? Was it online only? Did you have to go in person? Did they give you an office? How was the dynamics of the position itself?
It was phenomenal. It was absolutely a phenomenal experience. I enjoyed every single step without even knowing the outcome. I just thought it was phenomenal. So the first step, um, I talked to some. I applied, and then there was 3 interviews, and there was one on the phone, then there was one on Zoom, and then I actually went into a clinic for my third one. So it was a 3-step process to be vet for the position and make sure you were a good match for their organization, because it's a private institution too. Um,
Mhm.
and they operate on a small staff. So they're very, very selective, and making sure you're a good fit for everyone that's there. And so the clinic I worked in, it was only 4 of us: 2 health coaches, 1 clinician, and our front desk person. That's the whole staff. And we had seen, oh my God, so many daggone clients, because every 15 minutes we had one. And we were open 4 days a week. But every 15 minutes you saw a new person. And there was 3 columns of every 15 minutes of seeing folks. So
Wow.
it was
And
busy. We
so,
were turning them over, turning them over.
okay.
Mhm.
And so, what types of information? No, before we jump into that, what
Mhm.
types of people did you see? Because one of the myths
Ooh.
that is about health coaching is that only people who are really, really sick go to health coaches. But we also know there are people who want to stay healthy that also seek out a health coach to kind of get ahead and make sure their knowledge is where it
Yes.
needs to be for themselves, their kids, their spouse. And so I want to hear a little bit about what was the type of population that was kind of pouring in, and
Mhm.
what types of people did you enjoy working best with?
Oh, awesome. Great question. Affluent folks. It was a weight loss clinic, high end weight loss clinic. So there wasn't a lot of black and brown there, but they were there. Um, it was really interesting. When I arrived, I was the only brown or black, whichever. I fit both. And the other staff was the white folks. So uh, I became a target, for that, for the see yourself. When black folks would walk in, they would like, oh, there's a sister here. And then they wanted to get on my calendar because of the relatability, because there's a thing where my folks with and them sharing that there's some sensitivity. It could be true what they feeling, it could not be true what they feeling, but they know they feel something. And
Mhm,
so the thought of being talked at, or too aggressive in your
mhm,
language. And somehow, the clients I would see, either they were my age or younger. It's like my sister just walked in, or my auntie just walked in, or when the
mhm,
elders walk in, it felt like it was my mom or my grandma. And
mhm,
I adjust accordingly, because it was respect first and then business. So
mhm,
when my door closed to my office, it's just this energy that has to be there. And um and I just stepped into it, and then I'm able to listen to why we're here, other than that. But I know, as I looked around, how necessary it was for me to be there. I never felt like I didn't matter to the clients. Now, the
mhm,
staff may not understand, but the reaction of the clients, I that's what kept me there 3.5 years, because I could have went somewhere else.
mhm,
But I had started building relationship with
mhm,
the people of color, and that's Latinas, and it was more females than men, but still, um, I was able to navigate really well through the population. Now,
mhm,
can I say everybody like me? No, because sometimes, folks having their bad day and they see my image and you look too healthy, and I'm trying to get there. And
Okay.
I don't want to talk to you because now I'm comparing myself to you, and so let me go
Uh-huh.
to somebody else because your light is shining too bright. Especially when the
Yep.
vegans came in. The vegans came in and still was trying to lose weight, and then found out I was a vegan. Woo, that face got toe up. So they were all kind of way
Uh-oh. Well, she's gonna hop back on here in just a moment, you guys. She's gonna restart her camera here. But while she's doing that, I want to make sure that if you're here and you're with us and you're in the comments and you have questions about anything, let us know so that we can make sure that your questions get answered. I want to talk a little bit about some of the family dynamics and the accountability of health coaching and how becoming a health coach gives the person the opportunity to have that knowledge for their family. Now, one of the things that Tracie will probably share with you guys when she returns is how she was able to share this information with her family members, and she was able to help some of them actually transition their diets before they passed. And so that's a big part of her story, and it's a big part of why she started seeking this information. We all have people in our family, and I feel like one of the things that the pandemic taught us was that we have all of us have our ways of putting the human back in humanity. And what I mean by that is I mean that we all have the opportunity to be able to remember and to understand people for the things that makes us all human, how we socialize, what we eat, who we connect with, who we feel like should be in our communities, and how that affects our lives long term is so important. All right, you're back. And
back.
so yes, so we were talking a little bit about those dynamics that you were encountering while you were in the office. And so while you were away, one of the things that I spoke about was how this kind of knowledge in health coaching helps us create a little bit more accountability with our family members and
Yes,
with
yes.
how we look at things. And I'm
Hmm.
sure, like you said, there are people who came into the clinic and everyone's life is so convoluted. So how they feel when they walk in, what
Woo.
their goals are for seeking out this clinic are going to be so different. And so it's important that the knowledge that you have and that you pass to them creates this accountability that they
Yeah,
could then say, okay, I could see this result. And so I
yeah.
want to talk, I could see myself getting to this result. And for
Hmm.
those who didn't immediately feel that, they wanted to go to someone else, which they had the
Yeah,
option to do that, right?
that's right.
And
Yeah.
so I want to talk a little bit about around the time, and we're going to take it back just a little bit, around the time that your mother transitioned, because I
Yes.
know that this was a big piece to your journey and to your brother's journey, correct?
Yes.
And how you decided to kind of shift things, right? And so I want you to talk a little bit about that and how you felt like having this knowledge and then being able to pass it on, how that empowered you to keep going.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, even starting the journey, I knew it wasn't just for me, like, because I hadn't seen me in my family. So I was just taking a chance. I really, I didn't have a model for it or anything. I was just like, if I do something different, there's a possibility it'll be a different outcome. So, when I gave up my old eating ways, I was on this journey of just a different outcome. And I had no idea what it was going to look like. Like it was just like blinders on. Like I had no idea what I can do now at the age of 56, and the relatives I had when I was young at this age and the way they looked and moved around. It wasn't something to look forward to. I loved them, but I just wanted to see something different. So I was like, well, if you want something different, then you're going to have to be that person. You're going to have
Yep.
to show up for you, and you're going to have to be the seeker of it. And there's people who know, just like legacy. I was like, there's people who know, but you got to get in the room. You got to get in the company of those people. And so just going on that journey, Everybody is not going to go with you and your family. However,
Mhm.
it is important that you honor and hold yourself accountable to your own decision to be the one, because they are going to show up eventually. They are going
Mhm.
to ask questions. Just as long as they see your consistency and you stay with it, they're going to
Mhm.
come. They just automatically do. I waited over 20 years for my sister to ask me. My younger brother, it didn't take him as long.
Yeah.
Because we only 18 months apart. So he's like, what's she
Right.
doing? If she doing it, I'm doing it. And that brother got on real quick. And he looks amazing in his 50s. I was like, oh, I see you. You did it. Like he's been by my side, but I still had to lead. And then he saw it and he's like, yeah, I'm doing that. So, but everybody didn't go on board. So with my mom transitioning, yes, I knew some things. And I shared some things with my mom because she lived with me like 3 months before she went on to getting her own place. So in that time living with me, she had to be a vegan. She had to be plant-based. She didn't have a job. Yeah,
Mhm.
income. Tracie income plant-based. So sister had to eat plant-based and she lost 30 pounds and she was feeling good. And she was
Wow.
just like, I can't believe the weight came off. But then, as soon as she got her own place and her own money, she went back. She went
Mhm.
back. She went back and got the 30 pounds. She went back. And the health issues that are associated with it, they just accelerated.
Mhm.
And the story just kept unfolding. And then the more she took medication, the more
Yeah.
toxic she got inside. So her environment became very acidic, which is expressed itself everywhere else. So it's always another side to the story. Like you could take this route, you could take that route, but it's gonna be a story and
Yeah.
it is gonna unfold. And sometimes people gonna sample and then they gotta go learn again. And then if they get a chance to come back to you, they say, I'm ready, because they're not always ready, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's the beautiful part about health coaching is it would have taken her incrementally to
Yes.
get the behaviors to change permanently,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And so it's that knowledge is so critical. And I think there's people watching that might be on their journey. There's people here that are plant-based, right? And so
Yes.
they've been on their journey and they might be keeping things kind of close to the vest because they don't want to be mocked, they don't want
Mhm.
to be ridiculed, they don't want to
Mhm.
be pick
Mhm.
something, right? And so we got to make sure that while we're kind of in that silo, that we're also learning, that we're
Yes.
also under people like a school like Legacy that's going to
Yes.
give you what would be your foundational knowledge. And then everything else you do will build on top of that, right? And so it's important that you understand that and that you take those first steps because here again, we don't know when another pandemic is going to sweep through. You happen to be lock, stock, barrel, and ready, and ready to go, and ended up with an incredible journey, incredible career. So
I
let's talk
want to
a little
add
bit about.
I want to add to that. I was not a health coach when my mom lost that weight.
Mhm,
Um, and so I can only offer her what I knew at that time. And
mhm.
I became a health coach. She transitioned the very next year. So
Wow.
I shared that because timing, you don't have the time to wait. If you want
Yep.
to do it, you do it now. You think you got the time. I wish I had known about legacy way before we got
Right.
to my mom being in that critical, because then I would have known how to deliver it in that incremental way
Yeah.
instead of my crash course of I need fiber. I need fiber. Where's that fiber? Let me go find that fiber. So it was very limited, but that's all I was thinking. I was like, this all I know? And
Mhm,
I can tell you, Legacy organized it for me because
mhm,
before I got into this school, I got books, so many books, so
mhm,
many books looking for the
mhm,
answer. And I'm all over the place, getting something from here, something from
mhm.
there. So unorganized, and I couldn't put it all together. But then when I got into legacy, it is so well organized, and
Thank
it's
you.
fed to you in such a way that you can digest it
Yeah.
slowly. You don't have to rush and eat it or take it in. It comes
Hmm.
in at the right pace, and it's just absolutely a beautiful journey, and it builds on itself. It
Yeah.
does not just smack you and give it all to you at once.
Yeah.
It
Right.
progresses at a pace that you feel so ready when it's over. You don't, it's like you don't get to the end. It's like I waste my time. I don't even know why I got into
Mm.
that. No, you get to the end, you like, let me go start putting my application out. Or let
Absolutely.
me start my side gig now.
Yeah.
And it starts earlier than that, your side gig, really. You
That's right.
legacy get you there real quick.
Yeah. So once you're in there, like we have more people that say, I know now, can I just start? Can I just start coaching? Can I just and the answer is no. You still have to graduate, but you feel ready. You
You
know,
feel
you get to a point where you're like, this is not something that I don't know how to do now. Like if I can organize my way of doing this and my thoughts, I know for a fact that I can get somebody else there. It's not
right.
a kind of sort of or whether or not. No, you do. You have what it takes to then help patients get to their goals too. So
Okay.
but yes, the drink from the fire hose approach, we don't do that here, where it's everything kind of thrown into at once. Things are given to you in increments, like Tracie said, and you
Mhm.
have enough time each week to digest it to where no matter what your schedule is, it fits and you
It
can
fits.
actually learn the stuff and then you know it. And
Mhm.
so much to the point where you can get on LinkedIn, you can get on Indeed, you can get on Glassdoor and start looking for these opportunities because they
Yes.
are out there. And
Yes.
so, and even more so, one of the things that I'm learning is that people will reach out and say, how can I get a legacy health coach? How
I
can we
should.
just kind of drill down and just get these people?
I should.
Because their knowledge is great, they're good with their clients,
Mhm.
and it's just the way this program is set up. It's the way the stuff is written so that
Right.
I wrote this program in such a way that patients, one of the things that drove me to do it this way was because there were patients who were coming in when I was a healthcare provider and they did not know. When you say, well, do you have any questions? And they're thinking to themselves, I don't know what I don't know. I don't know what to ask because I don't know what I don't know. So
That's
how am I
right.
supposed to ask you questions?
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
it puts this is the kind of program that opens the way for the person to be able to advocate and have an intelligent conversation about their health and their goals. It is critical now.
It's
It
great.
isn't that doctors and different people don't want to help you. When they feel like you don't know what you're talking about, of course they're going to say, well, you're not jacking up my license. Here's what I'm telling you to do. Here's what I'm telling you to go take. But
Mhm.
that patient still, it is on that patient to get the initiative, to take the initiative to say, okay, this is my health, my body, so it's my responsibility.
I
So I'm
should.
not going to go through Google. I'm going to either go through a course or I'm going to find someone like Tracie who did
Mhm.
go through a course and say,
Mhm.
help me understand what they're trying to say to me because
Yes.
I don't feel like it's something that I want to do.
Yes.
So I want to be able to have an intelligent conversation with the people who are part of my care. That's
Yes.
called team centered care because you
Yes.
do need everyone on your team. You can't abandon your doctor or your nurse. You just need
No,
to be able to have an intelligent conversation
I
and
should.
have the information that's necessary for your own health. So, and we
Mhm.
all have to do that, whether we're health
Yes.
coaches or not. But your
Yes.
goal is to either be that one for your family or get in touch with one like Tracie, who is one,
I
right?
should.
And so,
I
but
should.
you can't any longer, especially if you're living in the United States, you can't
Ooh.
be without a health coach at this point. You need to
Mm-mm.
know one. You need to
Mm.
know one. You need to get to know one. You need to find
Mhm.
one
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
fits what you want to do, or you need to become one. And
Yes.
so I want to kind of shift gears and talk a little bit about how you kind of climb the ladder with Jumpstart MD because it's entry.
Ooh.
I'm
Yeah,
entry
yeah,
level.
yeah.
I did my 3 interviews. I'm there now. Some of the patients are already gravitating towards me. This is a very affluent area. And one thing to remember is health coaching is covered by insurance now,
Yes,
so
it is.
can be available at underserved communities. But
Yes.
in the past, pre-pandemic, it's premium. It's a
Wow.
premium service. It's a
Wow.
premium service that was kind of set aside for
Mm.
the elite and different
Mm-hmm.
kinds of people.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's accessible for a lot more people because insurance
Give
companies
thanks.
pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's come a long way. So I
Yes, it
want
has.
to talk a little bit about now that you're in this,
I'm
right?
in.
Because this platform is
I'm
still
in,
for
but
minorities, um, marginalized communities, the senior community, people who don't get a chance to be seen and heard, and for people who are male, right? People who
mm-hmm.
identify as men. And
Mm-hmm.
so I want to talk a little bit about how the work environment was for you, being
Woo.
that it was predominantly elite,
Yes.
predominantly homogenous in
Yes.
representation, right?
Yes.
Predominantly one way,
Yes.
and how that shifted how you cared for people. Because a lot of people would have run away and said, if
Yeah.
I don't fit, then I'm going to flee. But
Yeah.
I feel like you did something that I felt like was much
Well,
more powerful.
yeah, yeah. Well, it also helped that I had my military background there too. So that allowed me to be in some hot seats. But when I arrived, just being my authentic self, I was looking for my image. I was. I looked the whole company. I was like, I do a head count. How many? How many here? And how many brothers? How many sisters? How many here? I just started looking because I just wanted to know what company I was in. And very few, very few. And then eventually I met one young lady that actually got to train me, and it was in my she was in my image. And so I was like, "Oh my goodness." It was almost like a unicorn just walked in, cuz I was like, everybody else been other, but then right now it felt like I was in good hands. I'm being taken care of. And I just stress that point cuz it does matter. Diversity
Mhm.
matters. I don't say it have to be all one or all the other, but yes, it matters. So once I got all my training and I navigate and realized the company I was in, predominantly female,
Mhm.
predominantly female. The founder of this company is male, but then everything down the branches, female, 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 and yes, one type. It almost like everybody was cloned. I was like, oh my God, I feel so out of place. But I didn't focus on that. I focused more on who I was serving. Who am I coming here to serve? And the the who I saw and when they saw me and what I saw in their face and the comfort and the ease and the care I was able to give them, and just how they looked at me and said I matter being there, like, I'm so happy to see you. It was just like a
Mhm.
welcome, like, I am so glad you here. And everybody couldn't fit on my schedule, but after a while
I
some
love
of
it.
the other co-workers was like, put it on Tracy's schedule, and I was like, okay, am I
Mhm.
gonna just see all the black folks, like nobody else gonna see the black folks? So it got pretty interesting for a while, because I just watch all the dynamics of how things move
Mhm.
around. But after that, I say after I was there a year and a half, somehow I end up having a whole day running the clinic by myself. And the first time
Wow.
it happened, I was like, I'm the new girl. How am I running this by myself with just a front desk person? And I'm just singing client after client. I was like, okay, wait a minute. At first, I was a little bothered, but then I flipped the script and I said, no, this is preparing me for something. Because this is before
Mhm.
I became Dr. Tracie Harrison. I was like, no, this is setting the stage. It's preparing me for something. This is saying this is who you need to but before that happened, I was already seeing majority of the African American clients. So it's almost like I was running an African American clinic by myself.
One, a practice within a practice.
Within a practice. Then
That's
next thing
okay.
you know, every week I got this one day, it's just me. It's just me. And I was like,
Wow.
it's conditioning me for something. I'm not a clinician. I don't have my PhD. I got my health coach certificate and my master's degree. That's what I'm working with right now. And I'm running this thing. So it's really interesting when you're prepared and
Hmm.
where you've been trained and who sees what in you that you don't even see in yourself. Because ain't
That's
nobody
right.
asked me. They just put me in there and just like she gonna sink or swim. She gonna sink or swim. But I think she got it. And so they trust enough that it's like I think she got it. She's been showing it, this whole year and a half that somebody made a decision for me. She ready. And I can honestly say I didn't crush because I was ready, because I
Yep.
did do my due diligence. I did have proper training to
Yep.
be in that setting and for that to unfold that way. So I can honestly say, I was like, timing is everything. Get your education. Even if you're not going to
Mhm.
use it for employment, make it about you first. Like, I
Yeah.
got this certification for my own health, you know,
Yeah.
to live my own best life and have quality. And now I get to share with others. So
Mhm.
you don't have to wait until like I'm looking for employment or I'm going to change my job. Do it for you. Do this for you first. And
Mhm.
then
Mhm.
the opportunities unfold. So it grew. I showed up. I'm ready to be a health coach. I'm thinking I'm just in the mix to be a health coach. Next thing you know, I'm seeing predominantly one group of folks. Next thing you know, I'm actually seeing a lot of
Yeah.
folks on it one day.
Yeah.
And then I'm there 3.5 years. And it's time for me to move to my next level because I finished my doctorate degree while I was there because I'm always growing, you know. That's what this continuing education is about. I was like, whether it's a certificate, it's a degree, I'm always growing.
Mhm.
I'm always
Mhm.
transforming. So you
I
don't get
love
stuck.
that.
And I can tell you, legacy, they have an abundance of other things that you can
Mhm.
continue. You can continue because I have did those things, boot camps, I have did, being in a book together, like there is
That's
so many
right.
just to keep growing and transforming
That's
into
right.
your greatness. So yeah.
I love it. And so I want to shift gears and I want to talk a little bit about, okay, so now you're in this clinic. They
Yes.
trust you, right? They
Yes.
trust you enough to say she can run this practice one day a week on her own, right? And so apparently they trusted your knowledge, they trusted your background, and they trusted your ability to adapt, right? Because in order to be able to run a clinic with you and one other person there, you have to know enough that when you see the different clients and their customized ways of wanting to lose weight, their diet, their lifestyle, you have to know enough to be able to pivot and give them information, right?
Yes.
You can't say,
Yes.
well, I only know how to help this kind, right? So you have to be well
Yep.
trained in
Mm-hmm.
order to adapt to a bunch of different kinds of patients and not have anyone else there that you can lean on their expertise for you to go down
Woo.
the hall and ask them, well, it looks like you saw Miss Jones last. Can you help me understand Miss Jones? So I want
Mm-mm.
to talk a little bit about transparency. So you're working with these clients
Yes.
and you're working with their different challenges and their different issues. I want to talk a little bit about how I think people come to you and with their different challenges, they're expecting you to be completely transparent with the care that you're going to give them. And so they might say, well, I'm thinking about doing a weight loss drug. You know,
Woo.
how do I
Okay.
do that? Even
Okay.
though you might
Yes.
think, you might say, well, it might give them a result. If they want it, they can have it. They can just come follow up with me and we'll talk about their plate. But I want to talk a little bit about how you were able to inform their care, right? So help them understand their care, but also be transparent enough with them so that they made the right decisions for their own care. Because this is a staple thing in health coaching, it's a cornerstone that we don't tell people what to do. But when they have questions, we answer those questions, but they are the guide for their health experience. So, can
Ashe.
you talk a little bit about that? How you were transparent with them?
Yes, yes. So, when I originally started with this clinic, we didn't have the weight loss drugs, which is the GLP-1s. So that was a whole different approach to weight loss. It was just whole foods, some vitamin shot injections, some herbal stuff, So, yep, yep, that was a whole different thing. Now, when we get into the GLPs coming on the scene, the GLP-1s, whoo, baby. So the weight loss was coming on so fast. The conversation changed so quick. It wasn't so much about food anymore, but
Mhm.
you still want those lifestyle changes. You still want those good habits um, to be enforced. And it was a delicate balance to keep that a part of the conversation when all these results was coming from something else. Like all I
Mhm.
have to do is do this. However, if it was hard to get the back order, then the energy will change again because there's nothing that's a guarantee. So we had to keep that conversation there about making those lifestyle changes in the eating and portion sizes and what you eat and when you eat with the meds there too. We never talked them out of taking them. It was always free will because everybody had a different timeline of when they wanted to accomplish what they wanted to accomplish. I want this done in 30 days, or I'm gonna give
Mhm.
myself a year out. But that conversation was initiated when they on their first day, what were their goals? And
Mhm.
so it was important to respect people's decisions for
Yeah.
themselves and not impose my beliefs on them. So once again, it's meeting them where they are. If they ask more questions of what have we seen, you know, what have we seen in others, like, or is this normal? Is constipation normal? We have those conversations. Um, but it was really them guiding what we're talking about when it come to that. And so we really didn't step on any toes with our own beliefs. Now, me, after a while, it became unethical for me. Like I was like, what was happening to the GI? I just couldn't sit with it. And so that contributed to me leaving that organization because
Mhm.
I couldn't be as truthful as I would like to have been
Mhm.
in educating folks in the consequences of their decision. So, or that they can make a sound decision other than make the decision on weight loss only.
Yeah.
Yes, it does help you lose weight, but I didn't want that to be the only part of the conversation.
Mm.
But, if you don't run an organization, you got to mind your own business.
You do. You
And
do.
and but I was like, if they ask, then I say it in the most diplomatic way that I don't shame anyone, not the
Yeah.
company and not the individual, but allow someone to be informed. Now, I have had some folks come in when my door closed and say, "Tell me the truth.
Yeah.
Tell me the truth. What am I going to be dealing with later on, kind of thing."
Mm.
And you just speak just based on what you have seen, not that
Mhm.
factual, but you're just like, some of the clients here have been concerned about this. And Here's something you can read up on and get better, education on side effects of stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
education, inform them, but not making a personal fight, like
Yeah.
I'm against the business or the company, or I'm against the client for making that decision because it's free will. So it's
Yeah.
it's a delicate place to navigate around.
Yeah, yeah. I'm excited, and I'm so glad that you had this experience and that you've been able to share it, because there are a lot of people that are in different kinds of places where they work. They're in different kinds of areas in their career, and they want to shift it. They want to change it. But of course, they never want to let go of what they feel like is a sure bet to go into something so new. And so although health coaching is a new field, there are people thriving in it. And dare I say, once this platform got set up, man, I got been in touch with so many minorities who were like, I'm thriving. I'm doing
Yes,
amazing. And
yes.
it's just so refreshing to see. So the last thing before we hop off is um, you know, I want to talk just briefly about how important you feel it is for minorities to get into this field, or
Woo!
marginalized people, right?
Woo!
So people who are LGBTQ friendly, people who are seniors, or people who are over 65, people
Mm,
who are men, like,
mm,
right? Because you said the whole
mm,
roster was female. And
mm.
so how important do you feel it is for people who are minorities or marginalized to get into this field?
Man. I say from 1 to 100, 100% important. Like, there is not a household who doesn't need a health coach. There's not one. Not one. And things aren't getting better, they're getting worse. If
Oh yeah.
we don't multiply and get more of us out here and educating and helping folks change the story, it's just fun. It's just amazing, just the stuff that we're dealing with on a health wise, the aneurysms, the heart disease, the diabetes, the cancers, the colon cancer, man, that one, like, huge, the prostate cancer. Like,
Mhm.
there's so many things that can be reduced from lifestyle by itself. Like, totally can just wipe out some things if lifestyle was changed. And I just don't think, I just think people are miseducated,
Mhm.
or it's too much information and it's not organized or condensed enough for them to
Mhm.
process it. It's just necessary. It's just like the health coach being smack dab in the middle and bridging gaps, just bridging gaps. And that gap, because it's there, is so huge. People are perishing way too soon
Yeah.
because of that huge gap. And that health coach, that vital role,
Mhm.
irreplaceable, irreplaceable. And if you can get one, but I would rather you have multitudes of them.
Yeah.
Have little powwows and health coach sacred circles
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
and and go into certain neighborhoods collectively,
Yeah.
not by yourself, but everyone see a representation of themselves, where we're tall,
Yeah.
short, round, because health come in all different sizes. And as
Absolutely.
long as we are on the same mission of, let's get people off the poison, and if we can get them off the poison, then we can all start working on the self-esteem and the
Right.
empowerment of the consciousness, and to just do good work, and not
Yeah.
live in misery, suffering, or taking a lot of medication like high blood pressure. Like, why? There's certain
Mhm.
things like, why? And we can deal with those things through the plant-based lifestyle, the holistic living. There's so many things that it feels like an easy fix, but the educational part of it is the most important part, because I believe the doing can be done, but
Yeah,
they have to be informed, they have to be educated, and we got to show up.
that's
We
right.
got to show up. Those who know, we got to show up in those neighborhoods, the quotation
Yeah,
neighborhoods, the ones that don't know. We got to show up. We got to show up like McDonald's, show up like all
yeah,
that. We just
yeah.
got to show up. We got to be there, and hopefully work the land too, because the stores and
That's
the
a
programs.
big part of it.
So we those community gardens and stuff like, but it takes a village. It takes all of us. So,
Yeah, it takes
and
effort
and
and
I
it takes
thank you,
knowledge.
Roger. Like, you're a pioneer. You're leading the way, and you know that you got to duplicate yourself, because you can't do all that work by yourself. You got to duplicate. So legacy is that duplication place. Like, I'm just you were just passing that information on, and you
That's
produce
right.
another one, you produce another one, and then we go out, do good work, and we send someone back to be educated, so we don't get overwork and get tired out there.
Mhm.
That you
That's
keep
right.
bringing them through the legacy institution, so we're all restoring, we just keep growing. This is a big world, a big mission. So yeah.
Mhm. Homesteading from now. Yes, indeed. And so it takes knowledge. I love it. It takes people with the right kind of knowledge, right?
Yes. Yeah.
People who are learning, right? Like Miss Michelle Seaton says, yes, I'm
Mm-hmm.
out here homesteading and farming now. Exactly.
Ashe.
We need more of that. We need people with the knowledge to then pass it on. It's so important. So that everyone feels like whatever health feels good to them, they
Mm-hmm.
have a right to that, and
Mm-hmm.
they have the knowledge to be able to maintain that health. And
That's right.
so before we say goodbye to Tracie, we want to say a couple things. One, thank you so much for your service, not just as a service woman in the military, but thank you for your service as a health coach, as someone
Ashe.
who is also, you are the person who went in and you were like, well, I'm the only one I see like me, so I'm gonna stand tall and I'm gonna run this place. And it's
Run it.
God is so important. It's so important, and it equipped you for so much more.
So much more.
So thank you for your service, and thank you for being a health coach that says, I'm here and I know what I'm doing. I'm confident in my
That part.
skill, and whatever I don't know, I'm gonna learn along the way. I know I'm in preparation. So, so,
Ashe.
so I love that. I love the confidence that you exude, and we are just grateful to have you as one of the health coaches of color that is available today. So
Ashe.
I want you to let people know. I want you to let people know how they can get in touch with you and how they can
Woo.
continue to support your work.
Ashe. I am grateful, grateful. Thank you for that. You can get all my information, tracieharrison.com. Just tracieharrison.com. My phone number's there. My social media handle is there. My book is there. So, yeah, stay in touch. We are doing good work. It is a village, no matter how far we away from each other. The
Mhm.
hub is legacy. So, like,
Mhm.
if you really, you really need to find someone, come back to the hub, because we're just
Mhm.
branches. We're just branches of the foundation that legacy has created for us. So it's good work. It is good work. And if you're not one yet, then you need to just sign up. Just
Mhm.
sign up. Just sign up. Don't worry about anything else. What's meant for you gonna be for you. You just need to get in the
Absolutely.
room and show up. Just
Yeah.
say yes, because you can talk yourself out of situations, and it can
Mhm.
be you talking yourself out of your gift. You have no idea. So
Mhm.
don't let other things get in your way. Whatever other is, step over it. Just say yes. Figure everything else later, because it really might not be for you to figure out. It's your blessing that's coming. You just don't know. You just don't know. Somebody just, I don't know. Just show up, give it to you. So if you feel the spirit, I say sign up. and
Uh,
you will stay ready. You won't be getting ready. You'll
mhm.
stay ready because you're already signed up, ready to go.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being here. For those of you who are on this live stream, your name will be entered to win a full scholarship that's going to be drawn at the end of the month. And for those of you who are interested in partial scholarships, you can text the word enroll to the 470-236-8118 number that's
Mhm.
going across your screen. We can answer any of your questions about enrollment, any of your questions about having a nonprofit pay up to 50% of your tuition rate. For those of you who want to be able to jump in this and you know you want to make it cost effective for yourself. So there are a few partial scholarships available for cohort 45, and cohort 45 starts the last Thursday of August. So here in a couple of weeks, we're going to be starting cohort 45. Listen, it has been a
Yes.
pleasure sharing time and space with all of you. You all now know how to connect with Dr. Tracie Harrison. If you want to ask her more questions, look at what she's doing, I highly suggest you follow her and look at her work. She is a brilliant light and a great source of information for those of you who are out there. Listen, until next time, you guys, have a great day. Love and light. Bye bye.
Love and light. Have a blessed one.